So there he is, lying on the base of the termite mound, really enjoying a bit of the morning sun. Been quite a cold morning, coldest I think we've had this year. Standing what?
No, it's when someone does a track on the road,
Morning, Shamrock. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Shamrock would like to know whether, if Shadow, while away from the cub hunting, bumped into Tingana or Umvula, would she purposely lead them away from where she's hidden the cub? Probably not. I think they probably both think they're the cub's father. She would have mated with both of them when she's in estrus, so there's a good chance she wouldn't try to lead them away from the cub, and they probably wouldn't try kill the cub. That's their progeny. Such beautiful backlighting on the little one this morning. Morning, Lisa. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Lisa would like to know, would a female leopard like Shadow or Kwatile kill a rival female's cub if they came across it? Most definitely, Lisa. That cub is a potential threat to the resource and territory, so they would definitely kill other leopards' cubs if they came across them. You've got to scratch an itchy head. Starting to warm up quite nicely now. You can hear Brian losing some layers behind us. So when the cub did get up and start moving, you could see it had something to eat quite recently. It wasn't looking too hungry, but obviously, well, there's another reason that Shadow might have left him here and gone walkabouts, not only to hunt, but also possibly to mark her territorial boundaries. As I said, there's been some very strange ongoings with leopards at the moment, and new leopards moving into areas and tracks of animals we don't know. So quite an interesting time for leopards at the moment.
Stomach line.
Stomach line.
This line.
Morning, Cecilia. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Cecilia would like to know how many pounds would a cub like this weigh? I'm just going to try and work it out for you quickly, Cecilia. I think this is probably not more than about 20 kilograms at the moment. Maybe a bit more. Maybe a bit more. Maybe you should say 30 kilograms. Pounds. So probably somewhere between, it depends, probably somewhere between 60 and 100 pounds at the moment. A really big male leopard probably weighs around 200 pounds. Really big male leopard weighs around 200 pounds. I'd say this is possibly not quite 100 pounds yet, maybe 90 pounds, and that maybe even a little bit less than that at the moment.
No problem. I'll bring it.
So I wonder where Shadow is. I wonder if those female tracks we were following a little bit to the south of here could possibly have been Shadow's. It is possible, but that would definitely mean she's extending quite far into what's historically her mother's territory. I think those female leopard tracks that Scott is following up on could possibly be Karula. It is in the general direction she was heading yesterday. Morning, Lisa Osborne. Welcome on Sunrise Flight. Oh, it's chasing a mouse. Well, there we go, Lisa. That pretty much answers your question. Would it hunt when the mother's not here? It looked like it just chased a little bushveld gerbil through the grass. So yes, if the mother did stay away for a few days, it would most definitely hunt if it got a little bit hungry, sticking to smaller things, mice, birds, possibly monitor lizards and other lizard species. And see how fast he is, even for a little guy. That was very close. We nearly saw a kill. Lucky for that gerbil, managed to get down a hole before it was being pounced upon. So to give you an idea, that where he's sitting now is so very close to the vehicle. He's actually moved closer to us. He's probably 2.5 meters, maybe just 3 meters away from the car. There you can see the side of the car now. So very, very close to us. Very relaxed little boy. He's listening to those impala ratting. That could be quite a big thing for him. Or it is possible his mom might have been calling and we can't hear that. But he is moving quite. Ooh, no, we can't go backwards. You dropped the lens cleaner, did you? Oh, you dropped another one now. Just give us a second. No, don't worry, I'll do it. You got it? So I can still just see the cub through there. We just dropped our lens cloth, so it will be 2 seconds. We'll come back first. Okay. Good to go. I could just see the cub through the bush still ahead of us. We have all our paraphernalia back with us. Just saw him moving through here a couple of seconds ago, so I'm just going to try it. There's a little bit of drainage system here, so let's see. Where he went. I think he's just on the other side of the bush from us. I'm just going to try to find a way through. To our right, stop there and then we'll move around in a second. Just want to see if he's going to move. So moving into a slightly cooler area, there is a drainage system. I'm not sure whether he was getting really adventurous when he heard those impala rutting and decided he was going to go try There he goes on the move again. Let's get round. He was going to try and take on an adult male impala at that age. It's not impossible, but just really highly unlikely. Do you see him, bro? Which way did he go now? Is laid down in the drainage line. Let's just go forward a little bit. So guys, there's some other vehicles that are going to be wanting to come in here. We can always come back here a bit later, but I'm going to make space for the other vehicles, and we're going to come in a bit later. So we'll have one last little look, and off we go. This has been really great being able to spend some time with the Shadows Cub. Been a really nice sighting. We nearly saw him catch a mouse, but we're going to make some space. Let me just call in. This station's going to be leaving 2 vehicles in this position of this young Madode Ingwe. Best access is now from Triple M to the north east of Impala Plains Junction with Triple M. So while we try and maneuver ourselves out of here, we're going to cross across to Scotty, see what he's been up to, and we'll be back with you a little bit later in the drive. Back, and what a wonderful time you've been having with Brent and Shadow's Cub, and before that seeing a snake. So great action on Brent's vehicle this morning, which is good to hear. It hasn't been quite the same with myself and Andrew. We have been driving on all the roads with not too much life on them up till date. We spent about 10 or 15 minutes at Buffelshoek Dam watching the hippo and the heron, and allowing us some time to stop and listen to any signs of what may be happening around us, but it was silent, and we've now made our way south from there, hoping to bump into anything of interest. It's an absolutely beautiful morning, and the sun's beginning to warm us up now, and I'm sure it won't be long until we start peeling off the layers. Headed back towards Vuyatena Dam to spend some time scouting around there to try and establish where
both the male leopard that was seen there in the early hours of this morning at the Djuma waterhole camp, as well as the female's tracks that were heading towards the dam, trying to establish what happened to those animals, but didn't have any luck in that area. It is very thick in certain parts around the dam and just didn't have any luck establishing where they may have gone. But good prospects for this afternoon. At least there are leopards moving around the property. But while we can't find, we can find some other animals like this very pretty little emerald spotted wood dove. And you can see those emerald windows towards the back end of its wings, and as it turns and catches the sun at the right angle, you'll notice a bright sheen. It glistens. There we go. Beautiful. These are tiny little doves. The only smaller one that we would get you would probably be the Namakwa dove. And this is about half the size of a Cape turtle dove. More commonly known and regularly seen dove in this area. And again, it's stopping at times like this and enjoying a sighting of some of the less well-known characters that often can provide you with intelligence to find bigger animals. We could hear elephants breaking branches or monkeys alarm calling at something that they don't like the look of, all while enjoying watching a little bird go about its morning. It'll be feeding predominantly on grass seeds that would have fallen down from the blades of grass. A little wing stretch, and what's it going to do next? Is it going to potentially dust bath there? There's a small... No, it's just going to fly off. Good. Oh. Now this is interesting, and we're going to stop here and get a visual of not one, not two, but three very, very pretty birds of prey. Now, it's not common to see three of these adults together, and it takes about 8 years for them to get their breeding plumage, or adult plumage. And I wonder what it is that's attracted all three of them to this area. They are called batalures. And we're going to try and get a little to show you how pretty they are when we do get a little bit closer. But also just to double check and make sure that there are no signs of a predator in the area, because these birds do feed predominantly on carrion. They can catch their own food, but they are great carcasses. So, let's try and make our way in a little bit closer and see what they are all doing there. just to keep you all updated on Brent's movements, he has sadly broken one of the brake lines, which can happen when you're off-roading, which is cub with all of you. So he's just heading in to get that fixed up, but hopefully that won't take too long to rectify. But just to let you know what he's up to. Please, may these battalions not fly away. It will be such a beautiful sighting if they stay. What will also be great is if they are in fact here because of a carcass of some sort. Ruffling their feathers, getting ready to fly, so we're just going to stop here before we try and get any closer. And look at that for a beautiful, beautiful sight. Bright red beaks and feet. Now, you can identify these birds of prey, or in terms of their gender, simply by looking at them, even when they are sitting down like this. It's a little bit easier when they're flying. I can tell that the bird on the top is a male, and the two below I cannot tell because of the way they are sitting, but as they should become clear to us. And what I'll do is I'll get the picture and the book ready to show you how to distinguish between male and female. Now, have a close look at the bateleur on the right here, and you'll notice that below this creamy shoulder feathers, you could say, the trailing edge is black, where my finger is now, whereas on the female there'll be a grey panel on the trailing edge, which appears white when the female is flying, and the male is half black, half white. So now, as Andrew will take you back to the bateleur sitting in the tree, you will clearly see that the one on the top has got the black trailing edge. The two on the side we cannot see because they're facing us, but they could well swivel around at some stage. Now, the reason why I said it was strange to have three adults together is that they are monogamous, so they form pairs for life. And to find three adults together is very strange. Like I said, it takes about 8 years to get their adult plumage, so it won't be two adults with one of their recent offspring. And the male certainly seems to be peering down at what could be two females below it, very intently. And like a lot of the animals, especially the birds at this time of the year, they spend the first few hours of the day relaxing, basking in the sunshine, warming up, and the birds of prey will be in no rush, because for them to be able to fly around effortlessly, it requires hot thermals to be rising all as the earth warms up. They can then ride these warm thermals of air spiraling up from the ground, allowing them to fly very efficiently and not waste much energy. But at the moment, it's not quite warm enough to do that yet. So that's what they're waiting for. Unless, of course, there is something nearby, a kill of sorts. But I don't think so. I think this is just a comfortable tree that they've decided to spend the night in. if we saw them sitting in a tree that would be less easy for them to land in or sit in, we could then assume that it would be more likely for a kill to be nearby. And because this is such a abnormal sighting that there are 3 adults around, I'm going to get out my camera. That's been in hospital for the last few weeks, and this will be the first few shots I fire off after months of not having taken any photographs, which I'm looking forward to. Beautiful. Let's see if we can try and get a little bit closer. Now that we've let them relax with our presence at this distance, we can try and see if we can get you a slightly closer image. Okay, well, we've just got an update from Bob, saying that she thinks the one on the right is a female. And thanks for sending through that update, Bob. I'm guessing that's the one now that's just flown up closer to the male on the top of this dead tree. And I haven't been able to get a good glimpse of the white wing panels, although now that it is sitting at a slight angle, it looks like Bob is indeed correct. Yeah. So well done, Bob. Thanks very much for sending that through. And obviously Bob's been taking notes of all the little pointers and lessons we give along the way. And now we can see the one on the bottom left is, ooh, it looks like a male. Yeah, the one on the left is a male. So 2 males, 1 female. Very interesting. Now I can't explain that. Maybe the male on the left has lost its mate. Maybe it's trying to steal this mate from the male we can see. We'll never know the answer, but a really pretty sighting this is to have 3 of them together. And as I said, it is warming up. And you may have just heard my zip being drawn down, as I am going to take my jacket off now. Well, now that we had a close look at them, and I think it's fairly safe to say that there's no carcass in this area. I think we'll move off and see what else we can find. very good. Very, very good. Well, battalions, even though you didn't alert us to a kill this morning, I'm sure one day you will. Regardless of that, it was really pretty sighting and a unique one to see 3 of them all perched together. Something interesting here that I'd like to show you. It's inactive at the moment, but it's still something very interesting, an interesting relationship that is had between a bird and an insect. Now, as I've said, it's no longer active, but what you'll see here is and to the left of the bird's nest, it almost looks like snake skin. This grey matter. That's an abandoned wasp's nest. And even though there's no wasps there now, in summer when this blue waxbill would have built its nest, it's a very small little bird, it would have been searching for the wasps called vespid wasps before it built its nest, and it would have done this because it knows that these wasps are highly aggressive, and if it builds its nest very close to the wasp's nest, any intruders like snakes or mongooses or bigger birds trying to raid the nest act by its own private security system. And isn't that a wonderful relationship of an interesting relationship how one specific bird has realized the benefits of building its nest close to the wasps. And we did see 1 or 2 in summer when these little blue waxbills were nesting. And all these little relationships that we have out here are so wonderful, and so many of them we don't know about or too small for us to understand, but that certainly is a great example of how clever a lot of the animals are and how much they rely on other animals in order. I've been radioed on. Are there any updates?
To the north of the junction, east of Triple F. Okay. And Dix, can you tell me what's going on at the Bishikaya?
So, we are quite close to Twin Dams, and that'll probably be our next destination that we aim to get to. A lot of the time, as you may well know, we don't always complete planned routes or destinations, as we never know what. I hope that's the case this morning, but failing bumping into anything exciting, we will be heading towards Twin Dams. We're currently situated in the southeastern corner of the property and don't really have too many other areas to work other than back into Vuyatela via Twin Dams. make it there. We may have one or two little patchy moments as there are a few low signal areas in order to continue on with our morning's adventure. So I'll pre-warn you about those little technical glitches that may come up. And because it's just myself and Andrew out now, Brent and Brian are trying to fix a broken brake line on their vehicle. We will not have the pleasure of crossing across to them if the signal does get a bit patchy. And one of the residents are the tree squirrels, of which we can see one, just like the bateleurs, enjoying the morning sunshine. I've also seen brown-headed parrots investigating some of the cavities in these trees for a possible nesting site, as well as Burchell starlings. So a keystone structure for the smaller animals, as without this dead tree, these small animals wouldn't have a home. And it's an iconic tree of this area called the leadwood tree. As its name suggests, it's very heavy wood and very hard wood, and this dead tree could stand for hundreds of years and withstand most weather conditions and even fires. Depending on the nature of the fire, they can often withstand fire and stand for hundreds of years. So this squirrel doesn't have to worry about its home decaying or being broken down by termites, as a lot of the other trees would be in this area. Well, a big thank you to George Ann in Illinois, who sent through the collective noun for a group of eagles, and it's called a convocation of eagles. So thank you very much for sharing that with us, Joanne. And I hope you enjoyed the earlier sighting of that wonderful convocation of bateleurs. Oh, look at that big stretch. That was awesome. Well, that's one very happy squirrel with not a worry in the world. And always funny to see this smaller animals like the squirrels stretching and yawning. Another funny one to watch is a warthog. When warthogs yawn, they can hardly open their mouth, so it's a very narrow-mouthed gape, which can be quite funny to experience. And hopefully we'll find the den sites of some warthogs and be able to show you that. They typically are quite late risers and will lie at the entrance to their burrow for a few hours before they head out. I've just got a question through from Charlie in Minnesota. Good morning, and thanks for sending your question through. Charlie's interested to know whether we get any eland in this area. And sadly we don't, Charlie. They are such awesome antelope, and I'm actually going to find a picture of one in the book for you. What exactly an eland is. It's a massive, massive antelope. That's part of the spiraled horned antelope family, so similar to kudu, inyala, and bushbuck. And they do occur in various parts of the Kruger National Park, but not where we are here. They occur further to the north. And they are massive, massive animals, really, really pretty. Both male and female have got horns. And if you look up at that little picture over there, it gives you an idea of how big they are relative to a human. And in terms of weight, the males can be huge. So you basically double that to get the weight in pounds. Now you can hear a very interesting bird calling, and I think we're actually going to be able to show it to you just over to our left. You can hear it calling. It's just to the right of the tree. I don't know if Andrew's further enough forward. No, I'm going to have to roll forward a little bit. Sorry, Andrew, let me just creep forward a little bit. Awesome. Now, I'm going to leave this one up to you guys to identify. I don't think I've ever showed you one, but Brent or Mark may have in the past. It does look similar to one other bird that I know we have showed you, and that's the only clue I'm going to give you. So send your answers through to questions@WildEarth.tv or hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. And I'm interested to know which of you will be the first to get this bird right. It's seldom that we actually get to show you, especially because it's a bird that we don't see very often, or don't get to show you very often. We do get feeds and glimpses of them flying past, but certainly not quite as good as this. An opportunity is available very often. And as you can see, this squirrel has now made its way further down the tree, and it may be warm enough now to start its morning foraging for snacks. They feed on a variety of seeds and nuts, and often have to forage through old piles of elephant dung in order to try and find these little nuggets of goodness. It will also have a stash within these natural cavities that it's poking its head out of now to keep it going through the winter, but it'll be continually working to try and maintain a well-packed pantry in case of tough times that may lie ahead. Well, while we wait for the squirrel to send through which bird it is that we can still hear calling. It's flown off into a different tree, but we certainly would have had long enough to have a good look at it. But we've got a question through from Shanae. And good morning, and thanks for sending your question through. Shanae's interested to know why there appear to not be very many female guides around. And that's a great question, Shanae. It certainly is an industry that's openly accessible to males, females, young, old, people from other countries. So there's no prejudice that would make it more difficult for a female or a foreigner to become a guide. And I think it's often simply lack of interest from those genders. I know at a lodge where I used to work, 25% of our team was female staff, so there certainly may be certain lodges which are more inclined to employ female guides. But if you break it down and determine that, or just realize that there's no difference between a male or female when it comes to doing this job, as long as you can drive a and talk to them and entertain your guests, anyone can do it. But it is a good point, there aren't as many females as males, not even close, and I think it is fair to say that over the years it is becoming more common for ladies to be guides. But why there aren't more, I'm not entirely sure. I know a lot of lodges like to incorporate females into their guiding team to create a balance, and it, from my experience, does create a great balance to have some female guides on the team. And at a lodge where I spent the majority of my guiding career, we always had 3 or 4 female guides out of the team of 16. But interestingly enough, on this topic, it's often women that arrive as tourists and complain when they've got a female guide. So that's something to think about. My friends who are female guides often had the most trouble from other females, as the woman who would arrive wouldn't feel safe being driven around by a female. That obviously makes no sense whatsoever. And in the tourist defense, it's possibly because they would have just imagined and expected to have a male guide picking them up at the airstrip and then be a little bit taken aback by a small dainty. It is what it is, but there are no reasons holding back women from becoming guides, and that's important for everyone to know. Good, well, we're going to leave that squirrel to it. It seems like it may be a little bit cautious of our presence, and that's what may be stopping it from disembarking the tree. also an update on Brent's vehicle. Sadly, it sounds like the damage is a little bit worse than expected, so they're going to be working on it for longer than expected, and we'll probably not be out again on this Sunrise Drive. Now we're about to go through a dip, so the signal may be a little bit jumpy, but don't go anywhere because it will recover shortly after we climb up onto some higher ground. Here goes. Well, I hope you're all still there. It does vary from day to day, interestingly, and the signal and it always keeps us guessing and fluctuates slightly. Now, even though it has started warming up ever so slightly now, it's not very hot yet, so it'll be interesting to see if there are any visitors to the waterhole that we're approaching.
I'm still looking at young England, lost temporarily visual, but still on our end.
Copy, thanks. Well, as you can see, there are no large mammals at the waterhole, but there are a few birds fluttering about. Well, to those of you who said green woodhoopoo, you were very close for the ID quiz we had earlier, and well done for getting that close. It's not the green woodhoopoo or red-billed woodhoopoo. It's a very close relative called the common scimitable. So very well done to those of you who did get the common scimitable correct. And I'll bring it up in the book here now. You'll notice that the green woodhoopoo and it does have a very similar beak structure and body shape and color to the common scimitable. The main thing is that the common scimitable's beak is black, and it's also slightly smaller than the red-billed woodhoopoo or green woodhoopoo. And on top of that, common scimitables will very often travel alone. The green woodhoopoo is very commonly in large family groups of anywhere from 2 to 10 birds in this area. Very, very well done to those of you who got that correct. And wasn't that great to also hear it calling? The call of the green woodhoopoo is also a very loud, cackling call, so different to the call of the common scimitable. It's quite common to find hornbills around the waterholes at this time of the year. And what they'll be doing is disturbing termites who are busy trying to break down those piles of elephant dung. And the hornbills will come in and use their beak to topple over the dung that the termites will be feeding on from the bottom up, that way exposing the termites, and that's exactly what it's feeding on now. Tiny little termites, high in protein. It always amazes me how accurate they are with that relatively big beak of theirs at picking up. Here we go, here we can see it's trying to knock over some of these bits of dung to expose the termites. Okay, well, I think we can leave these birds to their business here and see what else we can find. There's just about 20 minutes left and plenty of time to find something. Let's just see what is out and about.
Boss running by. Yeah, Paul, what is that? Yes, he's now across.
Interesting, I haven't heard any impala rutting since I've been back, or a very small amount of it. And again, I haven't seen too many impalas, so it could be a combination of the fact that they may have moved off our property ever so slightly, but they should still be rutting in full swing. And I'm hoping to get one or two last glimpses of them doing it. It really is. I'm not sure what it's been like in the few days that I've been gone, but we didn't manage to show you much of manage to show you much of the impala rutting this season. You can just hear a bird calling, alarm calling quite insistently there. I thought I'd stop and make sure that it's of nothing of any interest to us. Can't seem to see anything there. Which kind of starling it was that we saw earlier? Oh, Shorty. Hello, Shorty. And apologies for not letting you know what that was. It was a Birchall starling that we saw briefly at the dam earlier. It's the largest of the starlings that we get in this area. And quite quite common for us to see, especially around the waterholes. I'm guessing that there could well be some more virtual starlings at the waterhole there. To give you a closer look at them. Arriving at Treehouse Dam very shortly, and I know Brent was here earlier this morning, but the beauty of driving around this place is that things change, and even though you may check one road or another vehicle may drive down one road, you could drive down 10 minutes later and find a completely different scenario unfolding. Let's see if that's the case this morning. You guys will have a much better idea of what was here when Brent drove past earlier than I will. Looking at some more buffalo approaching. He was looking quite intently to the right, but on closer inspection I've noticed another buffalo also approaching the dam. And there could well be a steady stream of buffalo heading towards this waterhole during the day. It is common for them to rest up here in the heat of these winter days. And shortly you'll notice there's another virtual starling. It's just in front of the buffalo, and the buffalo is slowly walking towards it. There it is. It's very far away, but even from here you can tell that it's a virtual starling simply from its size and very long tail. The other starlings we get here, the greater blue-eared and glossy, Okay, well, just 10 minutes left to go, and seeing as though the buffalo appears to be leaving the waterhole, I think we shall follow suit and do the same thing. Can take a closer look at this big old boy. And you'll notice it's a opaque color, and I think it's safe to assume that vision out of his right eye is non-existent, so he's probably only relying on his left eye. I could be wrong. But it is a disability that at the moment you can see has very little effect on him. He's still big and strong and healthy. Having one eye doesn't make it more difficult for him to find food. It will certainly, though, make things a little bit more difficult as he becomes older and weaker when it comes to facing off lion. But it's incredible how animals can adapt, recover from injuries out here, and what would usually be an injury that would cause a lot of difficulty to animals like us humans. These wild animals are incredibly resilient. To see some zebra hoofs on this road. The tracks don't look very fresh. It may simply be that a vehicle's already driven here this morning, that way giving me a false indication as to how fresh they are. There's not many zebra around this area, especially at this time of the year. So good to know that there are still a few lurking about. Female leopard tracks. Who could you be? It's difficult to see the tracks, but I'm going to try and get into a spot where Andrew can show you them. There's a nice one. I think we can work out one track somewhere over here. Why can't I see it? Oh, we're too close, Andrew. Can you not see this one just down here? There it is. There. It's getting difficult to point out tracks. It is just
yeah, that one I can't see.
We're too close.
Yeah, we're too close.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, there are tracks of a leopard heading down the road here. It's not easy for us to show you, but we are going to continue heading in this direction. It could be tracks from the female whose tracks we had around WildEarthTV Dam this morning. Either way, the leopards are out and about, which is great. It's just we need to somehow manage to find them. And there's a whole bunch of students here who are busy examining the different tracks, so that's why there's an empty car in the middle of the road. They're out all the way from America, and they're university students which are busy doing some assessments and some training out here, and that must be so much fun for them. So quite envious of them on their morning out. Morning, Lee. How are you doing? You guys? Good. Certainly there are some good prospects for this afternoon with all the leopard tracks on the property. They could hopefully nice for us to find them through the course of the day. Failing that, there could be a lot of things that change. Elephants could come onto the property. There doesn't appear to be any sign of elephants around. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed your sunrise safari with us, and I know there was a lot of excitement on Brent's vehicle with not only a great leopard sighting but also that sighting of a snake, which is an animal that we don't get to see too often out here. So really happy about that you got to see some good quality. And I'm not sure exactly who's going to be out on drive this afternoon. It could well be James and Brent, but we'll see you all then. Have a good one.